Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, where we peel back the layers of corporate jargon to reveal the real story. And guess what? Today we're diving into a report that has got some interesting numbers about distributions and how much a fund is worth. Let's see what secrets are hidden within this document before we dive in. If you love getting these clear breakdowns, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. You can also join our Discord community linked in the description below to chat with us and other corporate finance geeks. So what we have here is a current report filed by Oaktree Strategic Credit Fund, known more simply as the fund. This report is like a snapshot telling us about their latest financial goings, on particularly about distributions and their net asset value, which is basically how much the fund is worth on a per share basis. Let's talk about the money the fund is getting ready to pay out a distribution to its shareholders. Those of you who own shares as of the 29th of September will receive a payment on or around the 29th of October. Now, this distribution isn't the same for everyone because they have different classes of shares like Class I, Class S, and Class T. For Class I common shares, the gross distribution is $0.18 per S share. And guess what? There are no shareholder servicing or distribution fees passed on. So the net amount shareholders receive is also $0.18, pretty straightforward there. Then we have Class D common shares also getting a gross distribution of $0.18 per S share, but here there is a small shareholder servicing and distribution fee of $0.0048 per S share. This means the net distribution shareholders will actually see in their accounts is $0.1752. Moving on to Class S common shares, they also get the same $0.18 gross distribution, but their fees are a bit higher at $0.0164 per S share, so the net distribution for Class S shareholders is $0.1636. And finally, Class T common shares similarly have a gross distribution of $0.18, but face the same higher fee of $0.0164. Per share, leaving them with a net distribution of $0.1636, these distributions will be paid in cash. But if you are part of the Fund S distribution reinvestment plan, that money will be used to buy more shares, which is a way to grow your investment automatically. The fund also mentioned that they released their net asset value per S share on their website, which is a handy tool for keeping track of the fund. As performance, they also said this website information isn't part of this official report though, so keep that in mind. Now let's look at the value of the fund itself, the net asset value or NAV. Per S share as of the 31st of August 2025 was $23.1 for all classes of common shares, Class I, Class D, and Class S. All sitting at the same value. That is important because it paints a picture of the fund S overall health. The aggregate net asset value for the entire fund was around $4.5 billion. That is a huge number, folks. And get this, the fair value of its investment portfolio was a whopping $6.6 billion, meaning the underlying investments are worth significantly more than the fund S net asset value reported. They also had about $2.3 billion in outstanding debt. This is how they are financing some of their investments. Using debt can amplify returns. But it also ups the risk. Looking at leverage, the fund S net debt to equity ratio was about 0.48 times as of the 31st of August. This means for every dollar of equity, the fund has roughly 48 cents worth of debt piled on top the NAV. Per share actually saw a small dip from $23.13 in July to $23.1 in August. This slight decrease shows that the market value of the fund S assets fluctuated a bit during that month. The fund is actively raising money through both a public offering and a private offering. For the private offering, specifically for Class I common shares, they issued over 20 million shares and raised approximately $481.3 million. That is a significant chunk of capital coming from a select group of investors. In their public offering, they issued a massive amount of shares. Over 126 million Class I shares alone have been sold, bringing in a staggering $2.965 billion. They also sold Class D shares, raising about $4 million. Class S shares have brought in over $1.3 billion, and Class T shares about $1.2 million in total. Billions of dollars being invested into the fund. So what is the big picture here? The Oaktree Strategic Credit Fund is definitely a large player in the credit market. They are actively managing distributions and have seen strong interest in both their public and private offerings. The fact that their investment portfolio is worth substantially more than they're reported. NAV is a good sign, indicating a healthy bug. For against market downturns, however, the use of debt, while potentially boosting returns, also introduces risk. A debt to equity ratio of 0.48 times, while not excessively high, suggests they are using leverage prudently, but it is something to keep an eye on the slight dip in NAV. Per S share from July to August. T indicates that the fund is subject to market fluctuations like any investment, and it's important to remember that past performance is not indicative of future results. The continuous offering of shares means they are actively seeking new investment dollars, which points to confidence in their strategy and a desire for growth. They are clearly trying to expand their asset base, which can lead to economies of scale and potentially better returns for shareholders in the long run. Alright, that is our deep dive into the Oaktree Strategic Credit Fund. Latest report, what is your take on these numbers and what they signal for the fund? Future, drop your thoughts in the comments. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps. And subscribe for more deep dives, Don. Don't forget to check out our Discord. In the description, thank you for watching. See you next time.